Council meeting in the city of Marshfield, Tuesday, June 10th at City Hall. Call to order, roll call. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item C, identify possible conflicts of interest. Seeing none, moving on to item D, public hearing, amend of official city map. The public hearing is now open. Anyone would like to speak on the amendment of the official city map? Anyone would like to speak on the amendment of the official city map? Anyone want to speak on the amendment of official city map? Seeing no one speak, public hearing is closed. Thank you. Item E, public comment period, correspondence. At this time, I will recognize persons in attendance wishing to address the council. Upon recognition by me, persons may address the council first stating their name and address. Comments will be limited to no more than 5 minutes, and persons are asked to be respectful when addressing the council. No action will be taken regarding items not on the agenda. However, the council will take comments from the public under advisement. Please note that council members will not respond to your comments or questions. First, Andrew Spencer. And then Andrew, there's a little button down on the left-hand side next to the, yes, sir.
There it is. Nope.
How about now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, terrifying. Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Andrew Spencer. I live at 1019 West Park Street here in town. I've directed community theater actually for Marshfield area actors, Pittsville area community theater, Wausau community theater, and the campus community players here in town. I directed the past 4 productions there for the theater seasons of 2023 through 2024 and then 2024 through 2025. I'm actually coming here to you related to the Laird Endowment Fund for the Arts at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point at Marshfield. I have a concern about something that may or may not be happening there, and I have no way to reach the Laird Committee directly. So I'm taking this to the City Council to see if perhaps somebody with their numerous political connections may be able to reach out to this family and pass along some concerns that would, I think, be pertinent to them. The way that the Campus Community Players is funded is through the perpetual endowment of the Laird Endowment Fund for the Arts. However, it seems that the main campus of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point wants to absorb that endowment fund into a larger endowment fund within their campus by means of implying or inferring to that committee that there is a dying interest in community theater here in Marshfield, which there is not. When we did Sister Act, we sold out the entire run in advance, and usually after a theater season is over, we meet with the Laird Committee and are given the opportunity to discuss how well the season went and what could go on from there. And while I was sitting to go into that meeting with them, I heard the Laird Committee talking amongst themselves, oh, we hear the campus is closing. Oh, we hear that, they're going to be taking away this program or this program, and there doesn't seem to be much interest. It was just not a very good vibe. But once we got into the meeting, I gave them the incredible numbers that we had, and we calculated, I believe, that Sister Act had at least over $36,000 in profit that should, with the endowment getting replenished from the proceeds from every show, keep that endowment rolling forward. And the first question they asked me once they heard the figure was, well, where's the money? We haven't been reimbursed. So it seems that ticket sales from the university were not getting put back into the endowment fund appropriately. After that number, I was able to ask if we were able to, do the next shows that I wanted to do. They said, oh yeah, that's fine. And then they asked me to leave the room, and then there was shouting, and I kind of left. So it seemed that there is some turbulence happening up there with regard to what may or may not be going on. The Laird Endowment Fund is an enormous community asset. which is supposed to provide funding for the arts here in town, in Marshfield, at the Laird Theater. It is not intended for the main campus of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. It is intended for Marshfield. It was established by the Laird family back when that campus was just a Marshfield campus and not part of Stevens Point. I would put this before the council to consider what you may or may not be able to do to ensure that the university is not attempting to remove that fund and enormous community asset from us. The only reason I even think I was able to get an insight into that was because I was the first community member who was allowed to direct there, who was not a staff member. So because I'm not staff on the campus, I wasn't privy. I had to, petition Dr. Andrews to let me direct there because there was going to be no direction at that point. He gave that to me, and then I found that out, and they didn't ask me back, which is fine. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. But I do worry that other people who may be interested in proposing art projects to the university or to the Laird Endowment for funds in that theater will not be given that opportunity because there is no public way to reach out to that board. There's no public way to submit proposals. And if they so chose to just say no, the university could literally cut the Laird Committee off from hearing from the public about proposed art. And I think that's dangerous, especially for this community, to lose a great asset like that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Andrew. Next, Sheila Spencer.
Hello, my name is Sheila Spencer. I live at 1019 West Park as well, and Andrew is my son. I'm his glorified paint slave. I'm originally from Marshfield, and my grandfather was a janitor at the university in town. I spent most of my adult career in Washington, D.C., where my kids were exposed to the Kennedy Center. So Andrew's extraordinarily gifted when it comes to the arts. And it's very unfortunate what's going on at the university at this time. But our community had a benevolent benefactor in Helen Conrad Laird, a classy, sophisticated lady who loved the arts so much that upon her death, an endowment was created to sustain theater and the arts here in Marshfield. I'm so proud of that. To continue to create a sense of community and friendship and love of the arts, to attract directors and doctors and their families with culture like that found in larger cities, to carry on performances well beyond her life, invoking laughter, tears, joy, and camaraderie. We have something here that other communities can only dream of, and we should be proud of it. What we are proposing is this, that the city take back control of the Helen Conrad Laird building, to have the city establish a theater board that meets with the Laird Committee to pick the director or directors and the season of shows from numerous submissions. The meetings with the Laird Committee should be announced to everyone in the community, and it should be transparent. That the funds that are raised from those performances be put back into that endowment, which is a legal obligation and the definition of what an endowment is. Should not be stolen or taken. We want everyone that's allowed and has interest to direct or bring programming to submit a proposal for consideration of the board. The Laird Committee is in charge of programming, and if they don't know what options may be before them, they will be deceived. The theater program here is not only sustainable, but if it's run correctly, has the ability to become a powerhouse, a beckoning icon of the community. Why did we come here today? Why present to this city and not the Laird Committee directly? First, there's no way to contact them. We have looked, but there is no email, no P.O. box, no phone number. Meeting times and locations are gate-kept by the UW staff and president himself, and applications to submit proposals are not publicly available. One must go through Tony Andrews directly to get this information, and if he declines for every reason, which is what happened to Andrew this last season, because he was embarrassed by the numbers that Andrew brought in. Andrew was the first director in the history of that school to sell out a show pre-run. He made more from that production than he did in the 4 years he attended that school in profit. That's impressive. Anyway, why did we come here? We have looked, but there's no way to contact the Laird Foundation correctly or directly. Again, this is contrary to the intent of the Laird Committee, which per that old application that we were able to find, allows anyone to apply as long as the intended program is to be held in the Helen Conrad Laird Theater. Second is our understanding that the city and/or county owns the property and rents it to the university. There has to be someone on this board that has a way to contact that Laird Foundation and let them know that there is an intense interest in the arts in Marshfield. My son has a proven track record of success with his shows. He casts everyone who auditions, including those with handicaps, with stage fright. He was the first one to put a lady with a service dog on the stage for several performances. He creates a true sense of community and involvement. In fact, the young woman who played Dolores in Sister Act is going to marry the young man who played the priest. And they met while doing the show. Because they are wildly successful, and our success undermines what seems to be the intent of the university, which is to confiscate the endowment, it's trying to be hid. We can't allow that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Our third speaker, Russ Perlock.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here representing,
Oh, Russ, would you state your name and address?
Marshfield, Wisconsin, West 26th Street. I'm also the 4th District Wood County Supervisor, and I'm here talking about the abandoned airport terminal. It's been vandalized over time. Anyhow, the people were getting a little concerned about that, so I'm here representing them and myself. I live in the same area, about 3 blocks away. And I was talking with Jeff a while back about having that building tore down. And there is talk that it was going to be demolished, but it could take between now and 2028. I'd like to see it done sooner. And I'm encouraging the city, if there's something that they can do as some type of an incentive to get that building down, because the people are really getting concerned about the traffic that's going through there. The kids and granted, I'm glad that the police department does show up there, and I'm happy for that. But it's always a minute too late, and I don't know if they've ever caught anyone at this time for the damages and stuff like that. But the people are concerned that it may overflow into their area. So, and I'm concerned about that. So, with that said, I put it before the council that if there's something that they can do to create something to get that building down, it would be much appreciated for those people that live in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak in public comment? Anyone else want to speak in public comment? Public comment will be closed. Item F, approval of minutes, May 27th, 2025 regular meeting and May 29th, 2025 joint meeting with CDA. We have a motion by Alderman Varsho, second by Alderman Fire. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Wehrman. Derek.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can. Thank you. Tompkins.
Aye.
And Rigel.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Staff updates. Our first update is coming from Tom Laust, Housing Needs Survey, Community Director. Tom.
Good evening. The city's Marshfield's Housing Committee, along with my help, recently published a survey to gather input from developers, lenders, employers, realtors, and property owners. And the survey is to aim to identify trends and available housing resources here in Marshfield. The survey is currently now available online, and I'm encouraging the public, as well as anyone here, to take the survey. It's really important that we get people to participate And we appreciate your help in sharing this study as well, as it really contributes to our development of sustainability housing strategy here in Marshfield. So how do you take the survey? The easiest way to take the survey is all you have to do is go to the city website and go under communications. It's right in the departments, and there's an area there that says citizen engagement. It'll follow and it'll say the housing survey, which is right at the top. The other way that's really simple is type in your browser publicinput.com//Marshfield housing. And there you go. And there are 5 separate surveys on there, which are all together in one, but there are 5 different ones with the topics I mentioned earlier here. So I'm just here tonight to make sure people are aware of it. We will be closing it out towards the end of this month because the Housing Committee does have a meeting. We are getting some traction, but we'd like to see some more. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And one more time, would you please let us know how we can do this? You said public hearing /house. Is that correct?
Yeah, the easiest way, again, is publicinput.com/Marshfield housing. That is the direct URL, publicinput.com/Marshfield housing. Or you can go to the city website. And tonight, I'll even make it a little easier. I'll get it right up on the front page as well. So if anybody here is watching, I'll do that as well. So there's a third way of finding it. So I know it's hard to find sometimes, or remember it, but just remember that's where it is. A couple more weeks left because it's June 10th. Looking at closing that here probably in about 2 weeks if I'm right before the next housing committee.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 2, Marshfield Peace. Chief of Police Jody Gurink.
Hey, good evening. I want to take a couple of seconds just to introduce a new program that we're doing at the police department that I'm really proud of. The program is called Marshfield Peace, and it's been started by our community and court officer, Derek Iverson, who's with me tonight. He really likes public acknowledgments, so that's why he's here. A couple of years ago, I challenged Derek with finding a program, or a community engagement program that fits our community. We've had, in the past, we've used a lot of communities that are a lot of like DARE and GREAT, where a lot of these community-oriented programs that are wonderful programs, and they almost fit our community. There's always just something missing because it wasn't unique to Marshfield. And so I challenged Derek to find something or develop something that fits our community better. It did take some time, but we're about to launch our first Marshfield Peace event. PEACE is an acronym. It stands for Police Education and Community Engagement. Another one of our officers, Ali Ekus, was pivotal in finding that acronym to work. We had a lot to go through. We were shooting out acronyms all for about 3 months. Our very first event will be Cast with Cops. It'll be held on June 20th at Hamas Park, where we're gonna see if there's any fish in that pond. We've got a full roster. We limited it to 30 kids, and we've got 30 kids signed up for that roster. So if there's a fish in there, we're gonna find it. And this was all made possible by a generous anonymous donation where we were able to buy some t-shirts, where Derek brought some examples of the t-shirts. We'll be handing out, we've got a whole bunch of different colors. We're gonna give these out to the participants and their parents when they come. And we're gonna really try to throw this brand out there. So we hope to have a whole bunch of kids walking around with Peace shirts. And we can use this as an umbrella kind of to have other events that we can host to reach out to the community and find ways that we can build those relationships. And we had some other help with Parks and Rec. They're gonna provide some lifeguards for us and have some people help us at the event to help make it more safe. And the DNR is gonna bring some extra fishing poles in case kids don't have it. We do have some cat tackle boxes we're gonna hand out, and we're gonna teach them how to tie some knots and things before that, and then see if we can catch a fish. So we're launching it. We're really hopeful. I'm excited about this program and hope we can have a whole bunch of other events, and just wanted you guys to know about it.
Wonderful. So. Thank you. And thank you for starting up that project, Peace. Thank you all very much. Very good. One more great reason to live in the city of Marshfield. Thank you. Mayor's comments. I have 3 items that I would like to touch on this evening. First off, Dairy Fest, which was a week ago, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it was absolutely fantastic. Number one, the weather cooperated with us perfectly. Friday night's event, well, there's a little rain, but you know what? The people that I talked to didn't leave because they were already wet, so it was no big deal. So they just stayed anyway and just enjoyed the evening. Saturday, the parade and all the other events that went on, it was epic. Thank you to Mackie and all of the volunteers, everyone that came forth to help, and everyone that came there. We kind of did a small count from the weekend. We figured about 10,000 people were in Marshfield for that event. I talked to the lady who did the craft thing, and she said people came just for the craft show because they knew that she had the craft set up. But once they walked in, they had to get a piece of pie from the upper mansion because they had pie there. They came downtown and got some good food. And it was an epic weekend. So we want to thank them again for stepping up to make this a great event. And all of you that came there, thank you. And obviously you can watch the parade on TV, which is really neat. And it just is, it's a great thing for Marshfield. So thank you. Number two, this last Saturday, pickleball had their ribbon cutting. You get a chance to watch that? It was a pretty neat event. About 100 people came to the event. 5 of us spoke about what was happening with pickleball, and they had their tournament, which they had full house. It's all been working. Perry, the organizer, was telling us he was there 3 of the 4 nights before the pickleball tournament, and the courts were full in the evening also because of the lighting. So it's all a good thing. Once again, another good step for Marshfield. So whoever was there, thank you, and whoever wasn't there, maybe you want to go out and play a little pickleball. Not me, but that's okay. And number 3, I want to recognize Fire Chief Mueller for 21 years. Congratulations. And guess what? I'm done. How's that? Item I, council comments. Seeing none, city administrators update.
Thank you, Mayor. Like you, I have 3 items that'll be quick. The first one is just to remind you that strategic planning is still going to go on. We weren't able to schedule anything for the early part of summer. You've seen an email from me, and I'll be following up with you all soon, trying to schedule something for the latter part of August into September. Those are important meetings, obviously, to give us some targets, give us some idea of what we're shooting for and what the overall mission is that we're working on here at the city. That'll help us in terms of budgeting and all the other things we do. Secondly, the capital improvement plan, we haven't had meetings yet, but look for invites soon as far as we look for dates. Staff has been kind of overburdened with a lot of things, but we are coming down to the point where we're probably going to be seeking out opportunities to meet with you, talk about the long-term projects and see what your thoughts are on that part, including the long-term borrowing. And then finally, I know you've brought it before, getting ready for the 2026 budget season, which is not far away. Staff is going to be having a kickoff meeting of its own here soon, but that has not been lost in me. We will be coming to you soon, looking for your priorities and talking about some of the stuff to lay the groundwork for this coming budget season. So look for all those things coming to a computer near you, actually.
Thank you. Item K, reports from commissions, boards, and committees. Seeing none, consent agenda, meeting minutes and reports. Alderman, we have a motion by Alderman Varsho, second by Alderman Dallas. Alderman Tompkins.
I would like to take out the finance, budget, and personnel number 7C, which is the closing of fundraising account.
Anyone else? We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with that item pulled out. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Wehrman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Aye.
and Rigel.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we will go under the action on items. Item 7, Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee. Item C, authorize closing certain funding accounts. Alderman Tompkins, you are up.
Thank you. So when the zoo exhibit was built, there was a fund set up with the Marshfield Area Community Foundation, and that fund needs to be closed because the bear exhibit's already been built. And so there's $41,000 left in that. We could do what was passed through finance, budget, and personnel, which was to make a restrictive fund in the city where that money would be housed and then could be used for like maintenance or things like that. But many of you have been through our budget cycle in the last 2 years, and I'm sure that you can see the writing on the wall that if we continue to cut, our zoo is going to be really vulnerable. And I think that there's a better thing that we can do to help protect the zoo, and that would be to start an endowment and use that $41,000 as an endowment. So the endowment would be money that is never touched, but the interest from that money would then be used towards the zoo. I would say the zoo expenses, because the Zoological Society raises money to buy the animals and transport animals here. But we're right now using property taxes to pay for the zoo expenses. And this, I mean, if this endowment could grow to $6 million, it would cover the zoo annual budget. But that's a lot, but still, it has to start somewhere. And there's two reasons I think it should stay at the foundation. And that's because the foundation sort of has two things they bring to the table that the city doesn't have. One is they have connections with donors all over the community. People come to them and say, I'm interested in giving money, and they can say, here are the funds that we have. So, you know, someone could say, my mom just passed. She, you know, I want to do something to honor her. She loved taking my kids to the zoo, and they can be like, great, we have a zoo endowment. You know, why don't you honor her by donating, you know, part of her estate? People can do estate planning. They can do 401k planning, all kinds of things that their strong point that we don't have in the city is they connect donors to funds. The second is that there is a level of community trust that the foundation has developed, where people trust that if their money gets put in something, it will be used for that thing. And many of us know that sometimes if, you know, it's just a better way to do it in order to actually grow this endowment. So I have reached out to finance department head, I've reached out to Parks and Rec department head, I've reached out to the community foundation director, and all of them are on board that they think that this is a great idea to start an endowment with this money. I think it would be super exciting, and if this endowment could grow, and if we could protect the zoo in this way, I think it would be something we as a council could be really proud of, you know, 20 years down the road. But anyhow, so that is why I'm pulling it from the agenda, because I think that we can, do this really well. So I would move that the city staff make a new agreement with the Marshfield Area Community Foundation to establish an endowment and use these funds as the seed money for it.
You making that in the form of a motion, Alderman Tompkins?
Yep, that's a motion.
And is there a second to that motion? We have, okay, we'll say Alderman Fire, second the motion. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Wehrman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Aye.
Rigel,
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you, Alderman Tompkins. Moving on to item N, second reading of ordinance number 1530, amending section 18-158 of the Marshfield Municipal Code, public hearings, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. And as typical when we have second readings of items that didn't have a lot of comment on first reading, I'll probably be a little bit shorter than I was 2 weeks ago. But this is regarding the fact that in 2017, Wisconsin Act 67 set new requirements for conditional use permits. There were a lot of things being discussed and enacted as part of that, including making sure that there's actual data involved in denying a permit, for example. Traffic studies and those types of things are part of that. But one of the things that was included also in that act was requiring a Class 2 notice for all conditional use permit requests. And Class 2 notice means that you have to publish it twice in the local official newspaper. The second time must be at least 1 week before the public hearing. The city staff has been doing that ever since. It's been 8 years. We've been faithfully following that. However, we failed inadvertently to modify our own city code, because in our own city code, it referred to a Class 1 notice, which would only be one publication in the local official newspaper 1 week before the meeting. So we've been doing it right, but the code has not reflected that. This would correct that by making it very clear that a Class 2 notice is required for all conditional use permits. So with that, I would recommend approval of ordinance number 1530.
We have a motion by Alderman Varsho, second by Alderman O'Reilly. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Wehrman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Aye.
Weigel,
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you. Item O, second reading of ordinance number 1531, amending section 19.63 of Marshfield Municipal Code, subdivision and planning, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Until just over a year ago, the city was unable by its own code to cover any expenses for a development subdivision with respect to street, sewer, water, all those infrastructure costs. We amended the code in early 2024 to modify that to say that for TIF districts, we could, under a development agreement, participate in some of those costs. And of course, you saw that with the Daniel Homes project over at 21st and Washington. However, it's become apparent to us that there sometimes might be other developments that we might want to cover some cost, or at least be able for this body to determine if they want to cover some cost of infrastructure for a development. And right now that would not be allowed as of today. This ordinance would correct that, and that's where the starting point was for ordinance 1531. However, it was identified by Josh Moritz, our acting public works director, and Bryce Hembrook, our planner, Josh Miller, our economic development consultant, that there were some other things in the subdivision ordinance that really needed to be cleaned up and addressed at the same time. So this ordinance does include a number of other provisions. I'm going to hit on a handful of them, things that are changed in this ordinance from the current code. First of all, clearly requires that all newly created lots must have the specified improvements. It also specified with required improvements who is to pay for those. It makes it very clear. I mentioned the part about being able to contribute to infrastructure costs at the city level with a development agreement. That's required in order to make that happen. It spells out that a development agreement is required for all major subdivisions, and it may be required for minor subdivisions in some circumstances. And it provides a provision that these requirements for improvements like street, sewer, water, and we think of things like curb and gutter and sidewalk as well, may be waived by the Board of Public Works or are modified if the Board of Public Works and the council do that under a development agreement. So it's partly substantive, and it's also some housekeeping in there as well to clean up some things that probably should have been in place in the past. With that in mind, staff would recommend approval of ordinance number 1531.
We have a motion by Alderman Dellis, second by Alderman Weigel. Any questions, comments? Alderman Spiros?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just curious what the difference between, I think you used the term major and minor, or as far as subdivisions, what classifies a major one and a minor one?
That's actually called out and defined in the code. I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
I think it's based on the number of lots perhaps, but I can get that to you.
It's called out somewhere.
It's not, it's not subjective, it's an objective criteria.
I'm good with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote. Yep, you're good, Ashley. Her button's
We'll do
not
a
working.
voice vote on this. My button did not work. Fire, Wehrman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Aye.
Varsho,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Dellis,
Yes.
Giles,
Yes.
Spiros,
Yes.
O'Reilly,
Yes.
Weigel.
Aye.
Thank you.
That motion passes. Very well done, Ashley. Thank you. Item P, second reading of ordinance number 1532, amending section 11-06 of Marshfield Municipal Code, weed control, presented by Josh Moretz, Acting Director of Public Works.
Hi, thank you. I'll keep this brief too. This was mentioned at the last meeting. I'm sure most of you know what no mow May is. What this municipal code change would do is make the no mow May permanent, meaning it would just be enforced every May rather than have to come before the Board of Public Works each year for approval. So I'm just Staff recommends approval of ordinance 1532.
That's okay. We have a motion by Alderman Giles, second by Alderman O'Reilly. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Weirman?
Yes.
I'm sorry, is that yes? Tompkins?
Yes, it was.
Aye.
Weigel?
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you. Item Q, request to approve resolution number 2025-19, amending the official map to add proposed future right-of-way on East 22nd Street to the east of the intersection of South Nikolai Avenue and East 22nd Street, presented by Josh Moritz, Acting Public Works Director.
Thank you. Over the past 5 to 10 years, there have been several certified survey maps approved that require reserving portions of the property for future roadway. To the east of the intersection of Nikolai Avenue and East 22nd Street in the Norwood Industrial Park, there's currently a 30-foot strip owned by the city that is reserved for future roadway, but the official map was never updated to reflect this. And there is also a potential certified survey map that will be submitted, and city staff are recommending to reserve 30 additional feet to this on the south side of the city-owned parcel to create a 60-foot wide right-of-way to meet road right-of-way requirements. In order to require the dedication, the official map should be amended first and should include the full 60-foot strip, including the vision triangle. Extending this right-of-way allows for future access to the property to the east, which is anticipated to eventually become used for industrial purposes. This item was introduced to the council back in May and was referred to Plan Commission. Staff provided background information, and Plan Commission did not have any issues or concerns with the request. Plan Commission directed staff to set up a public hearing, which was held at the beginning of tonight's meeting. Recommendation is to approve amending the official map to add proposed future right-of-way on East 22nd Street to the east of the intersection of Nikolai Avenue and East 22nd Street as proposed.
We have a motion by Alderman Fire, second by Alderman Dellis. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Weirman?
Yes.
Tompkins?
Aye.
Weigel?
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you. Request to approve certified survey map and dedicated of additional right-of-way on West McMillan Street and St. Joseph's Avenue, and approve resolution number 2025-14 presented by Josh Moritz, Acting Public Works Director.
So first off, I'll start by saying this is something that would normally go to the Board of Public Works first. It was kind of on the radar for last week's Board of Public Works meeting, but there were really no pressing agenda items. So that meeting was canceled. Since then, there's been some urgency to this. That's why I'm bringing it to the full council tonight. There's an attached certified survey map in your packet at the corner of McMillan Street and St. Joseph Avenue. And what's been pretty common, depending on the road classification, is to bring this to the council to approve dedication of right-of-way along these corridors. So in this case, McMillan Street is identified as a minor arterial in the Marshfield Comprehensive Plan. Our municipal code requires a minimum right-of-way width of 80 feet for minor arterials. And this, to make this a little simpler to understand, that's 40 feet on each half of the roadway. This particular CSM is dealing with the north half, and the existing right-of-way is only 66 feet or 33 feet on the north side. So approval of this CSM requires the dedication of an additional 7 feet of right-of-way on the north side of McMillan to get to the 40 feet. Same thing goes for the St. Joseph Avenue side. The differences being that's classified as a collector, and the required minimum right-of-way width is 70 feet. And there's currently only 66 feet, so that would require an additional 2 feet of right-of-way on the west side of St. Joseph Avenue. The Plan Commission reviewed this at their May 20th meeting and had no comments. There's a resolution that acknowledges the city's approval of the CSM and acceptance of the additional right-of-way. One thing I want to mention, there's a recommendation, but I have a slight addition to it. There's the actual CSM, there's some internal lot shifting that may still happen. So the approval is as stated in your memo, approve the certified survey map and dedication of additional right-of-way on McMillan Street and St. Joseph Avenue, contingent on an updated CSM being provided that meets the lot widths and all other code requirements, and allow staff to grant final approval and also accept the parkland dedication fees at the time of final approval.
We have a motion by Alderman Spiros and a second by Alderman O'Reilly. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Wehrman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Aye.
Reigel,
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you for all your hard work, Josh. Item S, request to authorize staff to execute an agreement for economic development services with Cedar Corp for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. These next two items will look relatively similar. They both stem from a request for qualifications that I brought to the Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee and the Council back in April, and you authorized them, and I moved forward per your direction. First one is for temporary economic development services. Well, as many of you know, since 2022, we've really been effectively been without an economic development director, community development director, and we've been getting some good consulting services the last couple of years from Cedar Corporation. Josh Miller, our former development services director, has been providing those. We did go out for requests for proposals back in, as I said, back in late April. We got 3 responses from very qualified firms, Cedar Corporation, Short Elliott Hendrickson, or SEH Incorporated, if you will, and Verbiker Associates. We went through them as a committee last week, and that committee was made up of members of staff and council on the committee, a total of 5 members. They did review and discuss each of the proposals, and they ultimately recommend going with Cedar Corporation for the next year from July 1, 2025 through June 30th of 2026, with the potential to extend that another 6 months through the end of 2026 with agreement of both parties. In doing so, the committee noted that although all 3 of the providers are very qualified, that they also saw that Verbiker had done some larger projects and appeared to have some skill in that realm, and they definitely would want to reach out to them if there was a larger economic development project in the community and engage them in that process. So with that in mind, staff would recommend council approval of, or council authorization for staff to execute an agreement with Cedar Corporation for economic development services for the period of July 1, 2025 through June 30 of 2026, with that possibility of a 6-month extension. And that authorization would be based upon the representations, including billing rates, made in Cedar's proposal.
We have a motion by Alderman Spiros, second by Alderman Giles. Alderman Tompkins?
So I'm really happy that we're continuing to have people help us do economic development. I think that's super important. I'm just wondering, have we decided to use the 205 fund to pay for this service?
Yeah, the 205 fund pays for some of both of those, I believe. Yeah, it does. It pays for some of both those services we're talking about today.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Wehrman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Aye.
Reigel,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item T, request to authorize staff to execute an agreement for municipal planning services with SEH Incorporated for the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, presented by Steve Barg, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, similar to the last item, in this case, we've been without a planner since the fall of 2022. And we've been very blessed to have Bryce Hembrook, as we have been with Josh Miller, 2 outstanding professionals in their field. Bryce has worked well with us on planning services and filling that gap. So they responded, as did the same two I noted earlier, Cedar Corporation and Verbiker, all three of the same firms responded to both requests for qualifications. On our last week, the committee, which was largely the same makeup, however, Michael Riley, the Plan Commission representative from the council, he was on that committee as well. And after reviewing the proposals, they recommended continuing with SEH for planning services for the period of July 1 of this year through June 30th of next year, again, with that possibility of a 6-month extension with the approval of both parties. And I would bring that to you as a staff recommendation tonight.
We have a motion by Alderman Spiro, second by Alderman O'Reilly. Alderman Tompkins?
Steve, I'm just wondering if we're still advertising for a senior planner. So if we hired one, is there anything in the contract that says we can give notice and terminate this contract?
Yeah, the contract we've had with both these providers for the last 2+ years has been basically time and materials, which means that if we were to find a community development director or a senior planner, we wouldn't be obligated to continue paying. It just locks in the arrangement for the time that we don't have. And yeah, we have continued to be seeking a senior planner during this time period.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Wehrman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Aye.
Fragel,
Aye.
That motion passes.
you.
Thank you. Item U, suggested items for further agendas. Alderman Weigel?
Thank you. I'd like an update on the Wenzel family Plaza bathroom project.
And is that all?
For me, yes.
Okay. And Alderman Werben, you are number 4. Not that you're not number 4, but you're number 4, just to let you know. Okay, thank you. Alderman Varsho?
I would like a little bit more detail and time frame for that vacant airport hangar. I'd like to know, public comments. So let's try to figure out what it's doing there, how long it's going to be. Does that have to be torn down? Should it be torn down? So, thank you.
Alderman O'Reilly?
I know.
Thank you. I had a constituent contact me this weekend about an accident that happened, and they thought it was with an illegal immigrant, and I would like to have Jody do some sort of a presentation and let the community know how they're dealing with these in the community, these instances, just how it's unfolding, because I had absolutely no idea how to answer them on that. So if we could do that, I'd appreciate it.
Alderman Dellis?
I would like to open talks about the dissolution of the bid.
And Alderman Werman?
Just because I don't want to repeat anything that was said, I didn't hear Ms. Dallas.
Right. Okay. Wenzel Family Plaza bathrooms was Alderman Weigel. Vacant airport hangar was Alderman Varsho. The accident illegal immigrant was Alderman O'Reilly. And the bid discussion is Alderman Dellis. And you are up.
Okay, I just wanted to see if we could get a future presentation from Dr. Andrews or the UW Commission, whoever is in charge of that layered fund that was discussed in public comment as well.
Okay, anybody else would like to make a suggested item for further agendas? Seeing none, who would like to propose to adjourn the meeting? Alderman Werman and Alderman Weigel, please vote to adjourn the meeting. Everyone.
there we go. Wehrman,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Aye.
Fragel,
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.